talk about the whole bubble gut situation with the 2017 Mr. Olympia. Now, definitely this entire week, this has been the topic that everybody is talking about. There seems to be two different camps amongst fitness commentators on YouTube and in general. There's kind of one camp that has Phil as the unanimous winner, kind of saying the bubble gut was merely an illusion, it wasn't a real thing, and that it wasn't even really a problem. Then there's another camp, which seems to be the majority of online bodybuilding fans, that thinks Phil Heath's gut was completely disastrous and he didn't deserve to win. If you look at Phil Heath's physique, every other aspect except for the gut looks phenomenal. Just because Big Ramy outsizes him tremendously does not mean Big Ramy has a better musculature than Phil Heath. He said all these body parts are connected to the gut, and the gut kind of links it all together. So in those shots, the gut definitely compromises a lot of those front shots. So yes, I think Phil Heath's gut was a problem. Anybody who denies that it was a problem, they're pretty much kind of living in an illusion, man. It's, an unfair amount of attention on his gut, and he really kind of doesn't deserve it. However, people are sort of acting like Phil Heath was the only person on stage with a bubble gut, and that is simply not the case. Look at some of these photos of Big Ramy, for example. There are several times where he relaxed his stomach and his gut started to protrude, tremendously, and nobody really commented on that. There were several shots where I noticed his gut was almost sticking out even further than Phil's in some shots. So on one hand, I can see that argument. Like, let's not pretend that Big Ramy just had this tiny little V-tapered waist, because Big Ramy had some issues too. Now, obviously, Phil Heath is getting the most criticism because he won the Olympia, and he is now the representative of the sport, and he had a bubble gut on stage, and that's pretty much undeniable. So becoming the representative of bodybuilding in general, and they don't want that to be representative of bodybuilding, which I understand. However, I think the person that had the worst bubble gut on stage was probably Shawn Rhoden. Now, I say that because Shawn Rhoden is popular and most famous for having a teeny tiny small waist. That was his calling card. I think his bubble gut would have been the biggest talk of the show because, in my opinion, it was the most disappointing bubble gut of the show because that's what Shawn was known for, was not having one. We need something like this to have a better champion in the future. If people don't like that this is the ideal now and they have the opportunity to discuss it in an open forum publicly, maybe their opinion will, give wind to a new champion.